Bolivia became the first team ever to defeat Brazil in a World Cup qualifying game. Since then, Bolivia have continued to send minor ripples through South American soccer. And now, for the first time in the country's history, they've qualified for the World Cup finals. What had until now seemed beyond their wildest dreams has become reality. Bolivia have always benefited from playing home games at altitude in La Paz, but it's never been quite enough. Many put the team's success this year down to the tactics of Basque coach Javier Azcagorta, who's been with the team since January and previously spent 8 years coaching Primera División teams in Spain. Others point to the skills of star players like Marco Antonio Echeverri, who scored 4 of Bolivia's World Cup qualifying goals. But a closer look at the background of the team reveals an interesting common denominator. 6 of the current squad started their soccer career in the same academy.
I started playing soccer when I was very young, 8 years old, in the Tahuichi Academy. I stayed for 10 years and had lots of success there. In 1986, we won the South American Youth Championship. Whenever I talk about the academy, it makes me feel very sentimental.
Juan Manuel and Alvaro Peña, Moreno, Cristallo, Sanchez and Echeverri all spent their formative soccer years at the Tahuichi Academy. The academy is based in remote Santa Cruz de la Sierra, deep in the tropical heart of Bolivia. Some parts of Santa Cruz haven't changed much over the past century, but today it's the fastest growing city in the country. Good news for the economy, but not necessarily for the locals. Wealth is still concentrated in the hands of a few, and the most many children can look forward to is a life of shining shoes or street selling. With no prospects, many turn to crime and drugs. Not cocaine, Bolivia's most infamous export, because it's too expensive, but glue. One such child could have been Carlos Gerson Fernandez. His story is typical of the fate of thousands. His father abandoned his family when he was 5 years old. Living in one room with his mother and baby brother, he was forced out onto the streets to look for work at the age of 8.
When I was working in the street, I had friends who were drug addicts, glue sniffers, and they wanted to try and make me do what they were doing. Well, I listened to my mum's advice, and I said, this is not for me. I have a different future ahead of me.
And this is where Gerson found his future. In a huge expanse of pitted savanna, affectionately nicknamed the Moon because of the craters, the Academia Tahuichi holds its daily soccer practice. 1,500 pupils from all over Bolivia, aged between 6 and 20, are based there. 1,400 of them are non-paying students funded largely by the Christian Children Foundation. Menina Ardaya was the very first pupil to receive a grant to attend the academy in its earliest days 15 years ago. He captained the Tahuichi squad to its first great victories in youth tournaments all over the world. But with international competition came the realization that the Bolivian players were at a considerable disadvantage.
In 1979, we traveled to Brazil to play São Paulo. I was like this, and the Brazilians were like this. Then the people at Tahuichi started to worry. What's happening with our Bolivians? We're so small. What's going on? Perhaps it's because we're undernourished and overworked, or because our stomachs are full of parasites, or because our teeth are rotten. Our body's growth was stunted.
So the academy started providing medical supplies, food and education to try and give the children a better chance. This, combined with an intense training program for the older pupils, has led to an impressive list of victories. South American Children's Club champions twice, Junior World Champions and World Youth Champions in Spain in 1982. It It was Tahuichi who inspired FIFA in 1985 to create the first official World Championship for under-16s. Tahuichi have also won two of the world's biggest annual youth tournaments, the Dallas Cup in the USA and the Gothia Cup in Sweden, more times than any other club. And now the rest of the world are beginning to catch on. Academia Tahuichi graduates are playing First Division soccer not only in other South American countries, but in Japan and Europe. And a new program called the Tahuichi Way now invites children, mainly from the United States, to travel to Bolivia and learn Tahuichi secrets.
Okay, come on.
It's different. It's very hard. I came down here 2 years ago, and I trained, but it wasn't as intense as this is. This is more of a structured program, and it's very tough. It's very difficult.
American soccer fanatic Connie Constin regularly brings youngsters from the US and other countries to Bolivia to learn the Tahuichi Way. He's seen many training programs around the world and believes the Tahuichi secret involves more than just plain hard work.
There was something else special about them that other teams, other groups, other clubs did not have, and I think it was a spiritual side. I think it's their whole philosophy of putting children up on a pedestal, making kids into heroes, and everything else comes last. Winning, sports, everything. Adults, kids are first.
For the Bolivians who come to the academy at the tender age of 6, there's also the unique opportunity to train every day in the same place with the same coaches right up until their late teens. Where else in the world can children receive such a stable and intensive grounding in soccer? And where else in the world would you see this? Not only has Gerson found new meaning in his life through soccer, but with the help of the academy, he now hosts his own weekly television show, Pelota de Trapo, Ball of Rags, dedicated to the street kids of Santa Cruz. Both Gerson and his cameraman are only 14 years old. And Gerson himself was invited to promote the Tahuichi Way at a recent UNICEF conference on the plight of children around the world.
For me, it was a joyous occasion to be in the United Nations. I was with all the presidents and everything, and they took photos of me. And the next day in the paper, it said that the Bolivian presentation was the best of all. And Bolivia didn't go to ask for help, but to suggest a solution.
Because of their outstanding work among the poverty-stricken children of Bolivia, Academia Tahuichi has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. And when Bolivia's national team line up for their first World Cup match in the USA next year, the spirit of Tahuichi will be with them.